Give me your sources here again. What are the sources for these numbers?
These are Congressional Budget Office numbers. So these.
What about the Harris? What about the Harris plan?
These are numbers that her campaign produced, but have been vetted by the Tax Foundation,
right.
Independent scorekeepers of this sort of thing. These are honest numbers.
Well, again, it is remarkable that here you have Kamala Harris, who has been part of an administration that has just outperformed China and just lapped China several times over the past 4 years, has outperformed the rest of Europe, all of our allies, the strongest economy in the world, a $27 trillion GDP, the strongest stock market ever, a 50-year high for the U.S. dollar, more oil production than any country in history, and now fiscally more conservative than any president this century based on her plan and what it's projected to do. And there's still yahoos going around making millions and millions of dollars claiming that she and Biden are socialists. It somehow doesn't wash, does it, Steve?
It does not wash, Joe. You're right. The record has really been exceptional. He has done a great job of growing this economy, as well as imposing a lot of new plans and policies like the IRA that have solved things like, help solve things like our climate problem, the Infrastructure Act. It's actually the CHIPS Act.
Yeah.
It's a really strong record.
Steve, finally, you and I have been worried about deficits and the debt going back to the Obama administration. We've been talking about this. Could you explain to people, because it's just hard for people to grasp, what happens when we have the crisis, the debt crisis, when the debt bomb goes off, and how quickly do things collapse, not only in America, but around the globe?
Well, you know that famous Hemingway line about how he went bankrupt at first gradually and then suddenly. And that could be the scenario here. You could continue to add all this debt to the pile, and at some point the markets just back up and say, we don't want that debt anymore. And you have huge rise in interest rates. You have some other version of a financial crisis. We're forced to do stuff that we should be doing voluntarily, but doing it under pain and having to do a lot more of it than if we'd done it earlier. The other scenario is that we continue to drift along like this, and what happens is our interest costs are rising as a share of our federal spending, and it's pushing out all kinds of other useful federal spending, and eventually could impinge on things like Social Security and Medicare.
Well,
if we don't do something about it.
It would. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, just about every other program would be slashed as our economy spiraled out of control. And that's the thing. We still have time to take care of it because we have a strong economy. But when it hits the fan, we won't. It's just, a lot of progressive economists mocked not only me, but people like me for years when we talked about how big spending would lead to big interest rates, and big interest rates would lead to pain across all sectors of the American economy. And then it happened. And all they said were, yeah, we got it wrong. We're sorry. Well, a lot of people suffered because of it.
Joe, this is unsustainable. You can't run the country or a business where your revenues are year after year so far below your expenses. You just can't do it.
Yep. All right. Morning, Joe.